After years of playing Warframe, you pick up a lot of smaller details that can make a big difference to how Warframe plays and feels. But if you don't want to wait years to figure it out yourself, settle in for some of the things everyone knows by the time they're a Warframe veteran. I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. You don't have to be a long-time player to use these tips. Likewise, you don't need to be a long-time viewer to become a channel supporter on Patreon for more behind the scenes and to add your name to the video credits. Follow the link below the video, after watching it first, of course. One of the biggest differences between Warframe and most other shooters is mobility. In how many other games can you bullet jump for starters? But being fast and mobile in Warframe is more than just pressing crouch and jumping. When you want maximum distance through the air, there is a very simple combo to use. Bullet jump towards and above where you want to go. Hold aim to activate your aim glide, reducing gravity for a short time. Tap dodge to roll into your glide for a burst of movement. Holding forwards, tap crouch to begin a slide in the air, again for a burst of movement. Finally, double jump to add a little extra height and speed at the end. If this is still not enough to go the full way, especially if your destination is now at a steep enough angle below you, you can also slam roll for speed. Slam attack with your melee by looking down while midair at where you want to slam. On hitting the ground, you immediately tap dodge to roll forward. This cancels the slow exit out of the slam animation. Done perfectly, you can skip the actual slam into the ground entirely, giving you seamless movement. While you're at it, use particle velocity bonuses like Arcane Consequence. They greatly enhance this style of mobility. Back in your arsenal, you'll no doubt create a variety of loadouts over time. Whenever you switch to a weapon or Warframe, the leftmost configuration is the one that becomes active unless you're using a saved loadout. If you've ended up with a different config that you'd rather have as your default, it's as simple as clicking and dragging one config over another to swap their position. This swap includes all mods, arcanes, and helmet abilities. Just a little detail to make switching into your preferred loadout easier. Where this becomes particularly notable is with the circuit. If you use any of Baruk, Dante, Excalibur, Hildryn, Ivara, Mesa, Sevagoth, Titania, Valkyr, or Wukong, their exalted weapon or form has its own separate modding. However, Teshin's Cave only lets you select your Warframes build, not the Exalted. The Exalted setup will instead pick the matching config slot. If you use the leftmost config, config A, on your Warframe, then it will use that config for your Exalted setup too. This can certainly catch you out if you're using configs B or C and haven't modded the Exalted to match, giving you an unmodded and unhelpful experience. Here I've grabbed Baruk with Reactive Storm removed in the circuit. First time, I'm using his A config, which uses a corrosive cold setup on Desert Wind. On the second run, I choose B config, which was modded for heat instead. If you choose the default mods, this will also give you a default config for your exalted weapon instead of an unmodded one, though it won't show you this in game. Lastly, choosing a purchased extra config slot on your Warframe when you haven't purchased a corresponding config for your exalted loadout will always go back to your config A instead. While you're looking at loadouts, you might as well apply a bit of fashion. You may have noticed that some of your equipment has a single option for energy colour, while other equipment has 2 colour spaces. The cause of this is simple. Applying any former to an item will unlock a second energy colour slot. The way that energy colour interacts with your fashion is distinctly different for every item, a complexity that I'll mostly leave as an exercise for the viewer. I can show you it in action though with the Ignis. By default, the flame particles coming out of it look like a sprinkle of embers in a flow of Dorito tangy cheese powder. It is an uninspiring appearance if I'm honest with you. Applying a single energy colour, like this orange from 1003 palette, 4th column, 2nd row, we get an intense if overly vibrant yellow colour on our flame. Whether or not that's an improvement, it's hard to judge, but you can see the change. However, when we apply a choice second energy colour, we can have a compelling new result. I'm going to apply a deep grey from the smoke palette, 2nd column, 14th row. Now the colour has shifted a little deeper. The edges cool off into darker tones, the smoke is sooty and choking. Our Dorito duster has evolved into a Flammenwerfer. So don't sleep on that second energy colour, try out combos specific to your weapon, and remember, it takes just one form to be applied to unlock that customization. Once you're done playing dress up, maybe you want to crack some unvaulted relics from Prime Resurgence. The slow method will be to open up navigation, find Mars, head to Maru's Bazaar, load in, then head over to Varzia. You don't need to do all that. Instead, open up the market in your orbiter, head to Prime Resurgence. That's it. You can spend your ire directly here without the constant loading. This comes with the added benefit of making it easy to only buy relics as you need to use them, rather than feeling compelled to stock up to make the trip worth it. A further interface trick, and the last of them, I promise, that every veteran knows is in the mod console. As you play, you'll collect a staggering number of duplicate mods which make for a great piggy bank. Smash that open for endo or credits, whatever you're more in need of. But you don't want to sell every copy you have of some mods, and in fact, the game will actively prevent you from doing so in a few cases. To get around this, you should level up a copy of every single mod at least 1 pip. Just 1. It's very cheap to do. This means then that the unranked duplicates won't stack with that mod, and you can select the whole stack at once with middle mouse button. It's a massive time saver for melting down unwanted mods without risk of removing a mod entirely from your collection. Now maybe you're wondering how someone can get so many mods, especially a large number of rare mods. For rare mods, one of the better places is the Index, which also happens to be a significant credit farm. The only problem is that it has 2 different map variations, and veteran consensus is that the open air map is the better of the 2. If you load into a clan dojo and start the Index from there, you will seemingly always get the open air map, every time. I'm not sure how or why this is a thing, but it's something anyone who's done a lot of Index will likely have learned, and now you know too. Which brings us on to our final veteran tip of this video. In the same vein of manipulating what maps you get to play on for the Index, with sensible awareness of the map you're on in normal missions, you can control enemy spawns. This is a topic which could get rather complicated very quickly, and to be quite honest with you, would not be worth the hassle of trying for exactitudes. That's not how the veteran Warframe player does it. The simplest trick of note is that enemies tend to spawn one room away from players at any distance, or far away in the same room if it's large enough. So if you're running a longer survival mission and want the best rates of enemies pouring in, you're best served placing yourself firstly in a room with good sightlines, and secondly next to rooms with good spawn pathways. If you're adjacent to a room with long winding pathways, then enemies will spawn a long way away from you and slowly trickle in. The time they're running towards you is time that you're not killing them and causing them to respawn, slowing your XP rate, your loot rate, even your life support drop rate. If instead you're adjacent only to rooms with small areas for enemies to navigate out of, you'll have a constant high flow of enemies with quick return rates after dying. This keeps your kill rate up, making life support easier to maintain and pushing up your loot amounts. For this same reason, try to avoid going through doors into the next tile. When you cross through, some enemies will start to spawn close behind you, which can be helpful. However, some enemies will start to spawn yet another tile further away from you, causing a slowdown of rates. When you have your ideal farming spot, try to stay inside that single tile as much as possible for as long as possible. These are just some of the details on how veterans move fast, shop quickly, optimize loadouts, manipulate spawns, and look their best while doing so. This goes alongside previous videos I've done with helpful tips and myth busting in Warframe. If you haven't already, watch those now via the links in the video description. That's all from me for now, so as always, jump high, look fly, and fight well, Tenno.